Hey, look at all those rabbits. Just one, you say? Well, don't be so sure. This rabbit's been to school. He's smart. He can multiply. You watch and see how in a minute. People are funny. Art Linkletter. My familiar old stand at Hollywood and Vine, from which I've been broadcasting for almost 14 years. People Are Funny stunts on the radio and now on both television and radio. People are always asking me where we get the ideas for our stunts. A lot of the ideas come from actual real-life incidents in newspapers and magazines. For instance, I wonder how many of you read about the poor fellow up in Las Vegas, lives in a little apartment house, has just a room and a bath, and some relative died and left him an elephant. They shipped the whole elephant there. Cost him $30 a day to keep the thing up. He had nothing to do for it. And everything is true about that story except one little detail. It wasn't one elephant, it was two elephants. Well, now that gave us an idea for something that we could do on People Are Funny. And while elephants are a little ungainly for what we had in mind, we had another theory, and I'll let you see it in just a second. It involves a lady who is our first guest of the evening, and I picked her out of the audience just a second ago. Would you come up and tell us who you are, Mrs.?
Winifred Anderson.
From?
Originally?
Yes.
From London, England.
Originally an English lady.
Yes.
Married a GI during the war, I'll bet.
A sailor.
A sailor? Mm-hmm. Been here ever since, almost.
Yes, sir.
Now, Mrs. Anderson, what part of the country are you living in?
Glendale.
And your husband is a?
An accountant.
Accountant, uh-huh. And do you like money?
Oh, I love it.
Well, on this show, would you really like to win a little dough?
Uh-huh.
All right. Now, all you have to do is answer this question correctly.
All right.
How long have you been married?
10 years today.
That is right, I guess.
Yes.
In fact, I accept it as the right answer, and you have won the dough. Would you bring it out, please, Mr. Atkins? Just take it. That's a doe, and it's a cute little doe rabbit. Now, you see, on this program, you're always liable to win dough. Now that you have won the dough, I'm not joking this time. Would you like to win a lot of jack tonight?
Yes, sir.
All right. Where was your husband born?
North Adams, Massachusetts.
That answer was right, and it brings you the jack I promised you. In fact, two of them. And here they are. This lady is winning dough and jack. Now, how would you like to try for $4?
I don't know. Where will I put them?
Now, if you answer this next question, you get $4, whether you want them or not. How many children do you have?
2.
Is that correct?
Yes.
You have won $4. Would you bring them out? And they're in a basket. You drop yours right in there. And now, with this little stratagem, just put your arms right under the basket, we have loaded you up with 7 cute little rabbits. Now, Mrs. Anderson, how would you like to trade these in for a real big prize?
I'd love to.
You don't really care to keep these. I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to help you get rid of these rabbits. Mr. Atkins is going to drive you out of the studio to a nearby neighborhood about a half a mile from here, and you're going to take them from the car one by one up to the houses and try to get rid of them. You tell the people that you live nearby and there was a rabbit wandering around and you're trying to locate its owner. And see if you can get the people to actually take rabbits.
All right.
Will you do that?
I will.
And if you can get rid of them, you come back and you'll see what a nice prize we have for you.
All righty.
Remember, it's not really their rabbit, but you kind of indicate you found it coming from their direction.
And I leave it with them?
Just leave it with them.
All
Sure,
right.
it's okay. All right, you go right out that way, and Irv will drive you. Say goodbye to our audience. Well, there she goes, hair today and gone tomorrow. Pat McGeehan, come out here. She's gone. Shall we reveal the low and dirty and dastardly plot we're up to tonight?
Okay.
Mr. Pat McGeehan, our announcer, who is also a fine actor, went out in the neighborhood this afternoon, to which we are driving this lady, and what did you do?
Well, the neighborhood that we're driving Mrs. Anderson to now is close to Columbia Pictures. So I went around and I told people that I would offer $20 reward for a trained rabbit by the name of Wilbur, which we're using in a picture.
You told them you were from Columbia Studios.
Yeah, that's right.
Did you give them a telephone number to call?
I gave them a telephone number to call, and that's in case they found the rabbit.
And they'd get the reward of $20.
That's right.
Now, you see, ladies and gentlemen, what we want to do. Around the neck of each of those 7 rabbits is a little name plate that says Wilbur on it. We want to test people in that neighborhood out and see if they're really honest, and they'll say to that woman, Mrs. Anderson, this rabbit is worth $20 and I'll share the reward with you, or will they just say, oh yes, that's my rabbit, it was missing this afternoon, and take it. Go in and telephone our number, which he gave, and every time the phone rings backstage, somebody is phoning up to get the $20. Now, Irv Atkins is going to bring back anybody who told her about the reward and was honest and above board, and we'll meet them at the end of the show. It ought to be an interesting experiment. Say, you know... See the pretty fish? This is an indoor aquarium, and actually, these marine specimens were brought up from the world's largest aquarium here in California, the marine land of the Pacific. There are bat rays and sharks, and there might be something else beside fish in this aquarium in the next few moments. And speaking of that something else, let's meet one of our guests, a young man we picked out of the audience a few moments before we went on the air. As a matter of fact, you were invited down here specially, weren't you?
Yes, I was, Art.
And but you are handsomely dressed in a tuxedo. It's a little short.
Well,
Why are the pants so short?
long legs.
Oh, well, that's one good reason. This is our tuxedo, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
And one of the reasons we had you put on this tuxedo is that we are going to ask you to help us out along an interesting social function problem. You're Mr.
Leon Miller,
Where do you come from?
Los Angeles.
What do you do, Leon?
I work for Bell and Howell, Art.
Uh-huh. Are you a salesman or what?
Sales trainee.
And you are about 22.
23.
And you're engaged?
Yes, I am.
To whom?
Miss Shirley Hanson.
And where is she?
I think she's around somewhere.
That's right. After we
Leave.
invited this young couple down here tonight, hearing that they were engaged, we have her in a dressing room where she can't hear you and I discuss her.
Oh,
Now, you two are planning to get married.
yes.
All right, would you bring the young lady? What's her name again?
Shirley Hanson.
All right, they're going back to get her now. How'd you happen to meet her?
I met her at a party, Art, about 2.5 years ago.
Love at first sight?
Well, we worked on it a little while.
Oh, you did. Who did the proposing?
I did.
That's good. Oh, here you are. How do you do? You're Shirley Hanson.
Yes, uh-huh.
Your fiancé has just been telling me about you.
Oh, has he?
Did you meet at a party?
Yes, we did.
I just want to see if your stories jibe to begin
I
with.
remember it was a long time ago.
It was a long. How long you been engaged?
9 months.
That's true. That's what he said. Now, you, of course, are very proud of your fiancé, Leon Miller.
Yes, I am.
He's a kind of a fellow who looks like you could trust him, huh?
I think so.
Well, now's the time to find out the last few weeks before you get married. And so this is our little test tonight. We happen to have gotten a country girl out of the studio audience, just a plain little country girl, and she is a stranger to Southern California, and we were going to ask you if it would be all right if Leon Miller took her out to show her a little of the town during the next few days. And for each date that you will permit him to take her out on, we'll give you a beautiful dress worth more than $50. So if they had 5 dates, you'd have 5 gorgeous gowns. How does that sound to you?
Well, I don't know.
Well, I mean, you do trust him,
Well, yes, I trust him.
and you'd like to have the new dresses.
Yes.
Well, then what's wrong with the proposition? She's just a nice country girl, kind of a farm girl.
Well, I guess it'll be all right.
All right. And would you like to meet our farm girl?
Well, yes, I would.
Well, here she comes now. She is from the great Southwest, and she is she's an Oklahoma girl. As a matter of fact, this young lady went to the Miss America contest as Miss Oklahoma and was the runner-up to Miss America. And her name is Louise O'Brien. Hello, Louise. Isn't she beautiful? Well, what's the matter, Shirley?
Well, I don't know now.
Well, I told you she was from the country. You are from the country.
Oh, yes, I'm from Oklahoma.
And you'd like to see Southern California?
Oh, I'd love to see Southern California.
Isn't he a handsome young
Oh,
fella?
I should say.
How would you like him as an escort?
I'd love it.
We'll pay all expenses. Now, I tell you, it's going to be up to you, Shirley. You are the boss, and here's the way we'll work it. Leon, would you, just to get you out of harm's way when two women are arguing about you, you go up these stairs and sit on that comfortable chair right up there, will you please? There's a nice chair up on this little mezzanine in our living room. Oh, by the way, Leon, did you notice when you came into the room the beautiful little aquarium below you? You know, you don't need to look that way. Just sit down on the chair. I have another way for you to look. Boys, pull the floor out. And there goes the floor, and there is Leon hanging over the aquarium. Don't worry about those sharks and bat rays and other things. They're just hanging around down there. A man who is engaged to be married should have no worries. There's a stingray down there. Look at the boy. Wow, look at all the beasts down there. Now, Shirley, this is going to be entirely up to you. I am going to check with these two nice young people, Miss Louise O'Brien and your fiancé, as to what kind of dates they'd like to go on, and you just say yes or no. If you say yes, you get a beautiful dress. Now, I don't want you to say no. Would you reach over there behind you, turn around the other way? See that rope? Pull it over this way. Don't pull down on it. Just hold it. Now, anytime you want to stop this dating, you just pull on that rope. Do you have any idea what it's connected to?
Well, I think I do.
Yes, it's connected to that chair. And a mechanism unfolds the support, and your fiancé joins the fish. Tuxedo and all. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is an interesting experiment. Miss Louise O'Brien and Mr. Leon Miller may go out on several dates. For instance, Miss Hanson, do you have a suggestion as to the kind of a date they might go out on?
Well, how about the art museum?
The art museum. How does that appeal to you, Louise?
Oh, I never cared for art. I'd like to go to a place like the Coconut Grove.
How about that, huh?
Sounds very good. I mean, it's a dress. You know how you get a dress.
It's dinner dancing,
Dinner
all expenses
dancing.
on us, huh?
And you get
That
the
sounds
dress.
wonderful.
Do you like to dance?
Oh, I love to dance.
Doesn't he look like a good dancer?
He sure does.
Do you like to cuddle when you dance? He doesn't seem very enthusiastic. Well, Shirley, you got a hold of the rope. If you don't want him to go to the Coconut Grove, just pull the rope. Otherwise, say yes, and we give you a beautiful dress.
Well, I guess one date is all right.
One date at the Coconut Grove. You got a dress. Now, that's very easy. Now, for the next date. Let me see. Maybe I could make a suggestion for the second night. Miss Louise O'Brien, have you ever heard of Mulholland Drive?
What's up on Mulholland Drive?
Do you know what's up on Mulholland Drive, Leon?
Yes, I do, Art.
What's up there?
Well, it's nice scenery. It's not too much. Just the
You
drive.
look down
it's
over
scenic.
the city. At night, it's lovely if you have a car.
Well, it is pretty.
Would you like to see the city from up there on the Skyline Boulevard?
That really sounds wonderful. If I could sit in the front seat with him.
Of course you'd sit in the front seat with him. There'll only be you two along.
Stay with me.
Well, there's the second date, except for one thing. We got the date all arranged, but we don't have the okay of Shirley. Shirley, yes or pull the cord?
Well, how long are you going to be up there?
How long are you going to be up there, Leon?
Oh, not long. Just up there and back. It's all. I mean,
Well,
the dress.
okay.
2 dresses.
Okay.
All right, 2 dresses. She really does trust this lad. Now, it's entirely up to you. He's had 2 dates now with this young lady. One tomorrow night at the Coconut Grove, the next night driving around town in their own car up in Mulholland Drive, okay? Say you have the car, how about a drive up to Malibu Beach and have a picnic up there?
Oh, I like that. That sounds wonderful.
We're having warm weather. You could give you sun oil to rub on each other and everything. How about that?
Well, it sounds pretty good, Art.
It's a beach picnic. How about it, Shirley?
Will this be in the daytime?
Well, that's the only time the sun's out that I know of.
Well, as long as it's in the daytime, I guess it'll be all right.
That's 3 dresses. Now for the 4th date. Is there any place you would like to go that you've always dreamed of going, Louise?
Yes, there is. I've always heard that Palm Springs is wonderful, and I've never been there.
Palm Springs. Gee, the warm days and the cool evenings and the beautiful hotels. Now, Shirley, this is the next date. Either say yes and get the dress, or they go. Now, this is all on the level. They go on these dates. What do you think?
$200.
Well, it's 100 miles away, and... Well, I trust him, but...
You do trust him, don't you?
Oh, well, certainly, but for a whole weekend. And then he's going to be gone 3 other nights.
In a row. But this is a new dress for you, of course.
Well, I know, but...
Huh?
Well, I don't think so.
Well, what do you mean you don't think so? You can't say no. You've got to do something. You got a hold of the rope, and here... Come on up here. Hey. Wait a minute. We have just rendered this young man a great service. He now knows how far he can go with his future wife. Palm Springs. Would you want to get up out of there? The tuxedo looks so charming and stylish. Just pull yourself up. Just stand right up here, will you? Oh, you got a handsome fellow there. Well, Leon, we have taught you a fine lesson about how far you can expect to go. And we now know how far you can go, and that's to Palm Springs. So, Shirley and Leon, we are going to send you 2 to Palm Springs for a honeymoon trip. After you're married, you'll stay at the La Quinta Hotel, and we'll pick up the entire tab. You have 3 beautiful dresses for yourself. You got a free bath. And Louise O'Brien, we have a little something for you, a bottle of beautiful Arpège perfume by Lanvin and a diamond wristwatch. Now I think I'm coming down in the audience to prove that people are funny about money. And most people are, am I right? Of course, I have here in my hand 2 $100 bills and a $50 bill, which added up very rapidly, makes $250. And is there a man who lives here in Los Angeles who would like the money and who needs it? Let's see some hands. This looks like a man in need. Stand up. And who are you, sir?
Mr. Paul Barella,
And Paul, where do you come from originally?
Albuquerque, New Mexico.
How long you been in Los Angeles?
Since 1950.
Married?
Yes, sir, I am.
Children?
1.
And what business are you in?
I'm a school bus driver.
School bus.
Driver.
A driver.
Driver.
Yeah. And you could use 250?
Yes, I could.
However, and on this program, however means that there's a catch.
I figured.
I want to try to make you suffer a little for this $250. You don't mind, do you?
No.
Everybody suffers a little for their money. You'll do it.
Yeah.
Come with me. We'll start the suffering. Open the curtain, boys, and bring out the box. Come on up here and stand right there, Mr. Barella. Out on the stage now is coming a box 13 feet long, 5 feet high, and 3 feet deep. There are big question marks painted on the various panels of the box, and we'd like to ask you if you have any idea what's in it.
I have no idea.
It's a tremendous box, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Might weigh tons, you can't tell. Now, in this box might be a baby hippopotamus, a pile of old love letters from Rubirosa, a couple of sacks of cement that's hardened. Could be almost anything in there. Kind of curious, isn't it? Now, you have a house.
Yes, I do.
There's a lawn in front of the house.
Yes, it is.
You live in a regular neighborhood.
Yes, I do.
Which neighborhood in Los Angeles?
San Fernando Valley.
All right. I'm going to put this $250 back in my pocket for the time being, and we are going to have this crate delivered to your house. It's going to be put out on the front lawn. Lion Van and Storage will move it right from this stage door entrance where they're waiting outside to your house. Now, you can pound it. You can call in neighbors. You got any nosy neighbors?
Yeah,
Well, I mean, everybody has. They might come around and nose around the box a little.
I'm sure they will.
Now, next week, we are going to bring this box back from your front lawn to this stage, at which time you are going to make the decision as to whether you take this $250 in cash or whether you take what is inside this box. Now, you can't cut any holes in it, you can't break the seals, and you can't have it x-rayed or fluoroscoped.
Okay.
You got that?
I got it.
And next week you come back, you either get what's inside, which may be worthless, or you get $250 in cash.
Okay.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Boys, open the door. And there's the big Lion and Van storage truck waiting out there. You go right with them. See you next week. Say goodbye, audience. There he goes. You remember a few minutes ago? We sent a Mrs. Anderson, I think it was, out into a Hollywood neighborhood near the Columbia Picture Studios to try to give away 7 rabbits, one at a time at different houses. Let's find out exactly what happened as Miss Anderson went out into the neighborhood. Would you come back? This was quite an experience, wasn't it?
It sure was.
And you were to go out and give the rabbits away and say that you'd found them around.
That's right.
What was the reaction of the people in the neighborhood?
Well, the first couple I went to just grabbed the rabbit and closed the door, and the couple I went to says, now, wait a minute, there's a reward out here, and I'll give you half if you'll stay. And the last lady I went to, she says, well, come in, I want your name and address. There's a $20 reward for it.
Now, of how many houses you go to? 6 or 7 houses?
Uh-huh.
7 houses?
Yes.
And how many of them actually just took the rabbit and didn't tell you anything?
3.
3 of them.
Uh-huh.
Now, they got the rabbit.
Yeah.
And they telephoned us, by the way, backstage. And we just said, they said, we got a rabbit to report. We said, wrong number, and hung up. So they got the rabbits. Now, you brought somebody back who took the rabbit?
Yes, the last lady I went to.
All right, let's find out what happened, because this is the lady who took you in
Uh-huh.
and told you the whole truth.
Told me the whole story.
You are Mrs.
Mrs. Ida Hopper.
Mrs. Hopper. Ida Hopper, not Hedda Hopper.
Ida Hopper.
Ida Hopper. And where are you from?
From Illinois.
And you're a visitor here, or do you
No,
live
I
here?
live here.
Mm-hmm. Now, what happened tonight? What is your angle on this story? Did you hear about this rabbit this afternoon?
There was a note left there this afternoon that they were looking for a rabbit, and there was a reward offered.
Yes.
And then tonight, when she came to the door with the rabbit, I asked her to wait. But I understood there was a reward offered.
And the minute she brought the rabbit, it didn't occur to you to do anything but give her the reward.
Well, I asked her to wait, but she said she didn't have time. Her husband was waiting.
What occupation do you have?
I work in the commissary of Paramount Studio.
You're a waitress?
That's right.
Oh, you're a waitress in the commissary.
That's right.
Well, that's very interesting, because your honesty and immediate frankness, this $20 reward could have come in handy to you, couldn't it?
Well, I could have used it.
Sure you could have, but she told you right away, didn't she?
Yes, she did.
Well, isn't that nice? Doesn't it please you to find that there are people like that who don't try to conceal anything?
It certainly does.
Well, now, you've learned a lesson tonight, we've learned a lesson tonight, and we have as a present for you a very beautiful Westinghouse electric blanket for your home. Isn't that lovely?
Yes, it
You can be
is.
sure if it's Westinghouse, and it's a much better prize than you thought you'd get. And Mrs. Anderson, I'd like to offer you a chance to win a prize of $50.
What kind of buck?
Well, I had in mind $50, but if that's your attitude, well, I'll keep it for myself. But I do want you to take home for yourself a beautiful Tappan gas range with all the exclusive Tappan features. Isn't that nice?